We brought our investigation about a crisis for corrections officers to state lawmakers. Now those elected officials have increased the raises for guards who put their lives on the line inside Virginia prisons. 13 News Now investigative reporter Laura Geller joins us with a big update.
Well, corrections officers told us the situation inside Virginia's prison is a danger to the public. Lawmakers watched our story as they negotiated a budget deal over the last 2 months. Now, those officers will soon see raises they say are long overdue. Reactions from state lawmakers to our crisis in corrections investigation.
Everybody deserves a safe place to work.
It uncovered a situation with turnover so high and staffing so low, corrections officers told us it is a time bomb ticking.
I think you're bringing to light some of the most important criminal justice issues that we're dealing with right now.
It's an issue lawmakers said was not a top priority in original budget talks.
Clearly, I think your efforts here at Channel 13 have moved that up on the priority list, because certainly if we're not aware of a problem, it's very difficult for us to fix something that we're not aware of.
The first budget proposal included a 2% raise all state employees will get and some extra money for corrections officers. But when the governor signed the final budget last week, that amount nearly doubled.
We recognize that there are many needs, but some outweigh the others, and certainly addressing the issue of our corrections officers is one of those important needs.
Now, next year, those working to keep prisons safe will get a more than $2,000 raise and another 2% on top of it.
Reporting those issues, bringing the public's attention to it's important, and certainly we've addressed the problem.
Keep in mind, even with this extra money, our calculations still put the average salary of Virginia COs about $9,000 below the national average.
It's a great start, and recognizing the important job they do on behalf of all of us.
And since Virginia's budget is biennial, the spending plan includes those raises for the next 2 years. Laura Geller, 13 News Now.